Alright, welcome back to another tutorial. In this one we're going to take a look at the MC-707 and the new firmware update 1.10. First thing to go over is some new MIDI messages that will be sent and received by the following controls. Your filter, mod, and effects knobs now send CC messages 80, 81, and 82, and it will receive these messages as well for external control. The clip change and scene change now send and receive program change messages, so you can change sequences between say your TR8S pattern and have it change a scene on the MC-707 at the same time. And also we have pad note. It now sends and receives the notes, so that means you can assign the pads here to say the channels of your Roland TR8S, so you can play out the TR8S on the pads here, and also playing them you'll be able to sequence your pads here to use your TR8S or a external synth as a sound module, or play them live as it plays along. To show you this real quick, I have the Roland JU06A right here plugged into the external in of the 707, and to make sure that you have that in, you press input, then hold shift and scroll your value up. You'll see it go all the way up to 255. That's full volume in. So now we have the sound coming from the JU06A into the external in. You can make sure that shift and input will bring up your little input record settings. You want to make sure your external in is in stereo if you want it, and if you're ever going to record, make sure your source is set to the recording source. Now to control it, you have to go to shift knob assign. That will take you to your utility menu where you'll have your system settings as the first parameter. Hit enter, and then cursor over to MIDI, and then cursor down till you get to the track channel you want to use to control your external device. This one is track 5, and I have the JU06A as MIDI channel 6. So that's adjustable on here. By default it is MIDI channel 1, just so you're aware, but it is on MIDI channel 6, and I have changed the MIDI channel for track 5 to 6. So now I can control it. Oh, not quite yet. I have it set to 6. Let me get out of there real quick. Exit, exit. Now hit shift and the track select button. It'll bring you into your track settings. Use your cursors to go over to MIDI and select what MIDI channel or what MIDI output you want this track to go. MIDI out 1 is going to my JU06A, so turning that on should allow me to play the JU06A through the 707. I can also now live record a sequence and have this JU06A be my sound module, or I can play any sequences off the JU06A for sound coming through. Also know that with it coming in the external in, if you're to do any looper recording, you can record right off the JU06A onto the looper track. Or there is now a new function, and that is coming up at the end of the video. Now that we have the MIDI set up to control our external instrument, we'll take a look at the next thing. Next is if you press shift and note, you will get into your note mode settings. You will notice there's an additional parameter now called scale. You can now send your tone tracks with a scale. Chromatic being looking like a keyboard with your white and black keys. Once you go out of chromatic, you will see that it now lines up 2 octaves of that scale. Here we are in minor. And then we'll get something like that you can kind of tell, minor blues. So you can see you could set all your scales and then simply exit out of that. Now you have everything in the scale fixed. Next, if you press chord, you have your chord mode as normal. Pressing shift and chord will give you your chord edit as normal. Now you can see there's an additional option. If you press enter in this screen, it will bring you to the chord designer. Each of your C knobs will do a different adjustment. C1 is your key, C2 is your scale, C3 is to rotate the chord, and C4 is a chord spread. Play with these last two to see what they are. The first one being, you have your key, there's your chord, and what key you want it. If you want to do it in a different scale, you can see that it changes the chord according to scale. Once you've created your chord and you've designed it to how you like, make sure you have the pad pressed. It will confirm which pad is up here. And once you have it and how you like it, press enter and it will load your chord into the corresponding pad. Exit to get out of there. And that is the new chord designer. So scale function with shift note. Last C4 will change your scale. And shift chord, then enter will give you chord designer. Two new great functions that have been asked for. And I'm sure everyone will be very excited about it, especially the scale mode. Now for the last thing that I think most people are going to be most excited about is a sample recorder. This can be done in a couple of different ways. First off, you can press sound on your track and you'll see that you have a new option to select from besides preset, project, wave file, which is loading. Now there is record. You can hit record or select record and hit enter or press the C4 like a button, and you will see a sampling recorder screen will come up now. Quickly, a shortcut for that would be shift and record. Will bring you to the same place. Now you can see there are a few options. If you join me with this, you might be able to see it on your screen. But the few options you have are, at first you will see that you have a total of 61.3 seconds, I believe, per project to record. You also have a little meter that shows how loud and the volume on your recording source is. Down below, C1 controls how you trigger the recording starting, either by pressing enter, it will start recording. You can have it go by your clock, so it won't record till it comes back around. So if you're recording a sequence that repeats, that might be the way you want to do it. Or you have your decibel thresholds, -24 being lowest, -12, and then -6. These are all your trigger points. So if you don't want a quieter noises coming through, you can choose a higher threshold and it will start recording once it reaches that threshold. I like to set it at 24 because that's when it will trigger and most sounds come over it. You choose your recording source. You can record from anywhere, be it the external from your PC all the way through each of your track numbers and your mix out. When you choose external in, you'll see the external in volume will show up here, so you can adjust that. And then with trigger to a threshold, it will say enter to standby. So you can hit enter and record anything you want. We'll record just this one C, that C. Hit enter to stop recording, and it will bring up a sample edit screen. You might have seen this in previous versions if you have loaded any samples into the MC-707 off the SD card and then wanted to edit them. As you can see, the beginning is quite small and visible, and holding function will give you a preview. There's your sound as it was recorded. As you see, there's a lot of blank space at the end. So in this mode, What I like to do is drum hits I'll normalize to 0 dB, but I find like a -2 or -3 for your tone tracks seems to come out pretty good sounding. So you have a start point, end point, a normalized level, and a zoom on this screen. If you press right cursor, it will go to preview on, so you could choose to preview the track or not. Position, which we'll get to. Slicing, where you can slice up your sample, and the zoom again. Going back to the first screen, we will normalize it by choosing our normalizing value and then pressing the C3 like a button. It will tell you it's normalizing, and you'll see the waveform respond. Now, much louder. We have quite a bit of tail there that's unnecessary, so we can take our endpoint and scroll it right in. Holding shift will scroll quicker. Be careful. You can cut it off and be back and forth. So now we have ends a little quick. That's good. So you have where you like it. And then if you don't hit anything and you just want to record, all you'll have to do is hit enter and it will record the track. If you have a track selected, it will record it and load it in that track. Since we have a okay, you're hearing the external in too. So if I take the external in and turn that volume all the way down, now you just hear that basic saw oscillator that comes default. So now I can press select and it will tell me I'm going to load this to track 5. I press enter. The sample has been loaded as a C4. So if you're going to record, make sure you record the C4 unless you want to go through and edit it later in the track and in your tone track to signify a different root note. Now that that's all done, you can exit out of it, and now we have this is your sample you took, spread out over a key group. Okay. Now you can affect it however you want. Hitting this, you'll see that you have your wave in there, and now you can do all your basic editing of the tone in there. Okay, another one to do if you want, you hit shift record, and if you want to record a different sound, let's see if we could find something that's worthwhile here. Well, here, we'll do this because I know some people would be curious about this. Sorry, I'm getting a good sound here. Okay, so once you find one that you kind of like, you can pick a pattern and so you have that. This is coming through our external in. You can see on screen. So you have that set. Now we could take this and we can hit enter to standby, and then we hit our recorder. Hit enter to stop the recording. As you can see, it's come out quite small, so we're going to normalize to -3. Boost up. Now you can see all your parts and when we function. So say like that. So you have your sounds and you want to get rid of so you have it kind of like that. Now say you like that saved just as that much part right there. You can simply select a new track, like say on your drum track, and you want it sent to to this pad. So we have it set there. Then all we have to do is hit enter. It's going to write it over there. So now we have it set here, and you could go ahead and place this pad anywhere you want. This has been done with another pattern I did here. That was just recorded from. So that's how you would load it onto a drum pad. Simply record what you have, select your drum track, select the pad you'd like to assign it to, and there you go. If you didn't get a good take on your recording and you'd like to do it again, while you're still in your sample record, hold shift and hit exit, and it will bring you back to here to record again. So we can try a different pattern, and we'll try, I want to find something more plucky. There. So there you go. This is our recording here. You want to record through the external in, and say you just want to record it for the sake of having a sample. You're going to simply set your trigger to how you want it, hit enter, and hit start on your sequence. So we got the whole sequence in there. We hit enter to stop the recording and give it a normalize. Now you can see where everything goes. With a zoom in, you can fine tune your end point. So we have that. Now that you're happy with it, let's say, you can go ahead and save it by simply hitting enter, and it's just going to write it and save it in your sample browser. We'll get back to that in a minute. Now, let's zoom in a little, and we're going to cursor to the right, and now we have our position. And we have slice. If you change this, you'll see soft, mid, and hard. Hard is going to go for quite a few transients and is only if you have clean cut samples. Soft will give you the least amount of cuts or chops, and mid's about halfway. Choose your slice and press your C3 to slice it. You'll see it go through the process, and it will chop up each one of your positions. Whatever's highlighted is the part that has been sliced. So as you scroll through your positions, so say you wanted to lay these across some pads, you could simply, let's load a new track. I don't know if we could do that. Anyway, if you're to lay it across drum pads, you can choose your position. Whatever position is highlighted, you would choose your pad that you want to set it to, and then you would hit enter, and it would simply load that one part. So if you choose your next position, push that, say I want it there, sample load. So if you wanted to chop up a sample you have, then you would do so, and you can save each chop to a different part on a drum pad, or save each one in your sample bank to use later. And something to remember is each position you could zoom into, and say it's not exactly perfect, you can choose your start and end points just for that slice. So this one did a good job of chopping, so it's not really necessary. But if you find some that have cut the chop too short or gone too long, you can adjust each one by choosing your position and then cursoring back and choosing your start and end point for that position. Once you have that set, simply hit enter to load or export that one chop to something else. Okay, so that's recording, sampling to a track, sampling to a tone track or a drum track, and sampling just to the sample bank. To get to your sounds, if you were to pick one, you click Sound, choose a wave file, and you'll see you now have an export folder. If you go to the export folder, let's see how we can get in there. You push the button. Maybe that's not it. There we go. Sorry. Shift project will get you in there to mess with your samples. You have your sample bank manager under project menu. Click C4, hit enter, and you will see all the samples you have listed. Anything with a check mark next to it is being used. It also gives you a % usage in your sample bank and things you'd like to do. If you'd like to import one into some other thing, rename it, delete it, edit it, or preview it. Oops. I went to edit, so preview. So you can see we have all the samples that have been saved in your usage bank, in your sample bank. Again, that's under Shift Project to bring up your project menu, and then scroll over to Sample. And that is your sample bank manager. That's about everything for the new update. If there's anything I missed, feel free to ask, and we can set that up. There are a few other menu options for the scene changing and the PC. It works on a control channel and the utility set MIDI menu. And don't forget to turn on the switch that says Control RX or Receive if you want to receive the MIDI of scene changes. I think that's all for everything here. Be on the lookout for more videos coming soon on a variety of equipment and a lot more for the MC-707. And as always, thanks for watching.